What about advice for parents who have not protected their child, have allowed their child to be mutilated, to lie, pretend that there's something they're not, and maybe now they see an interview like this and they're waking up, bloody hell, what have I done? What have I done to my sweet daughter or my sweet son? But maybe their daughter or son is not yet willing to admit the delusion. What advice do you have to them? Encouragement do you have for them in processing this guilt and then going forward with their child?
That's a very good question, actually. And I think it's probably the first time that I've been asked that specifically, like how to deal with this if you've already affirmed this and your child is like already on their way into transitioning. I mean, in terms of processing this, it's difficult, but you have to be able to recognize your role and your hand in this happening, because this is not something that just happens within a vacuum. These feelings of distress that a child could have around their sex doesn't just come from a vacuum. It often comes from issues within family or traumatic experiences that they may have had. But you also can't blame yourself too much. Because, I mean, to be told by a doctor that this is the only choice for your child, of course you're going to take the only cure that has been given to you and your child. So take responsibility, but don't beat yourself up. And I mean, in terms of going forward with them, that's a really difficult one, because I mean, I've never really, I personally, I made the choice to detransition. My parents didn't have me detransition. I've met parents who have successfully desisted their kids before any medical intervention has taken place, but I've never really met any parent who was further into the process. I'm going to think about it for a moment. I feel like there's.
I mean, I think immediately of your older brother, who you wanted to distance yourself from because he questioned in any way whether you were going down the right path. I think that's what makes it so difficult, because you want to keep communications open so you can love them and speak truth to them, and they might be in a very sensitive, defensive place that if you show any sort of criticism, they'll flee.
Yeah. You have to start small. You have to start with the foundations of your relationship with your child, spending more time with them, spending more quality time with them, and building that trust with them, so that you can have, like, they can confide in you about anything, about having any difficult discussions, even if they're uncomfortable, and like slowly building your way up and starting to challenge them a little bit, I think, on these ideas. And I feel like from there on, like you could like gauge their reaction. You could gauge the reaction to the discussion. And they're not going to be happy about it for a long while. They're going to be very unhappy about being challenged, because that's just how children react. And this is something that is very ideological and very emotional in nature. So it's not going to be easy to have this discussion with them. And if your child is already medicated, I feel like there's two choices you can make. You could either choose to, I mean, it's not going to be easy, because in certain areas, like in certain states, if you choose not to affirm your child in their transition, you could potentially like lose your custody of them. I know parents who this happened to in California, in places like Chicago. But you could either like slowly wean your child off of the medication, or you could have them detransition on their own terms.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I really do hate saying either of those things, because either way, it's not it's not the best situation.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.